YouTube. In this video, I'm going to be taking some of the best NBA players currently in 2024 and making an NFL team out of them, going position by position and taking a lot of these NBA stars' skill sets and finding a place on this NFL team for them. This video is kind of from a football and basketball fan's perspective. Obviously, this is an NBA channel and basketball is my favorite sport in the world. I think it's the best sport in the world, but close second for me is football. I'm a massive NFL fan and I know probably a lot of you guys watching this video are too. And I always hear the discussion or, I guess the debate of who would translate better to each other's sports. I personally think it would be far easier from an athletic standpoint for an NBA player to play in the NFL. I think there's a few NBA players, right now that could sign with an NFL team today and get on the field within a week. Some of them we'll be discussing in this video. And without further ado, let's just get right into making an NFL team out of NBA players, position by position. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Please leave a like and subscribe. Let's get right into it, folks. So, first things first, before we even pick any players for any positions, you can't have a team without a name, all right? We can't be a nameless team. And so, I have to come up with a name. I'm tasked with this responsibility here. And thankfully, I am up for the task because I have selected the most glorious team name of all. The NBA players' football team name will be Dehave's Dynasty. And Dehave's Dynasty, obviously a great name, I know. But we will be playing on a gold field. That's just kind of something that separates us from the rest of the league. While some may say go green, I say go gold and go bold. And that's what we're going to be doing here, because if you follow the channel, gold is our theme and now gold is our team. So, without further ado, I want to pick the coaches for the team because, that's arguably one of the more important parts of an NFL team is the coaching staff. And so we're going to have to pick the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator, and then we'll get into all the players and positions. And, for a head coach, we need someone that's on the NBA level that has a ton of experience, that might be a little bit rough and tough. Maybe someone that has some military experience, maybe someone, that can bring that militant type of intensity to their football team. And those two things can be synonymous. And so with the head coach, I have the OG Greg Popovich, five-time NBA championship head coach, one of the greatest coaches in pro sports history. Pop will make a nice translation to an NFL football coach. He just seems like, of all the coaches, he seems like a football coach to me. And so that's why I've got Greg Popovich here. For the offensive coordinator, we need someone that's a real strategist out there, that's going to be drawing up absolute 200 IQ plays and, implement this new system pretty effortlessly. Maybe this guy's a former player. And, for this position, I'm going to have Steve Kerr. If you think about Steve Kerr's time with the Warriors, how Coach Kerr is a very creative mind when it comes to offense in the NBA. He has in some ways implemented a system in Golden State that has sort of reinvented the wheel on a lot of things. And you need kind of an offensive guru there. So that's why we picked Coach Kerr to lead this offense. And so on the defensive end of the field, we need someone, a mastermind strategist who is going to amp up these, monsters on defense, get these guys ready to go, put in a gritty system that promotes toughness and physicality. And that's why I have Coach Spoelstra, the Miami Heat coach Eric Spoelstra for our defensive coordinator. This is a great choice if you ask me, because Coach Spo, that Heat zone is just killer. We all know about Heat culture. He's a big part of that. He's going to have these guys fired up and ready to go on Sundays. And while we might have a flashy, gold and bold field, there is grit and toughness on this defense. We got some absolute monsters over there. Without further ado, let's get into every position of this team, and we're going to start with the offense. And so for quarterback, this is obviously one of the bigger picks I can make here. And, this is a tough task to pick who's going to play quarterback for the Dehave dynasty. And so, obviously, if you watch football, all the things a quarterback needs to have. He's got to be a great passer. He's got to have a great arm. Physically, he's got to be pretty big in stature compared to his opponents. One of the things that I think has really helped, the modern quarterback is mobility. You see a lot more quarterbacks having a big arm and, a lot of legs to them to be able to get outside the pocket, extend plays, high speed processing IQ, right? We want a guy that's going to be able to process information on the fly, make the correct audibles if need be, find the open targets and make the throws, and also leadership. Someone with winning experience that can really lead a team and command a locker room. And that's why I have one of the greatest players in NBA history, if not the greatest, LeBron James as the quarterback. For one, LeBron's got all of the above. His leadership is unmatched. He's always going to do everything he can to make the guys around him better. That's a great sign for a quarterback. He's one of the best passers in NBA history. His IQ is off the charts, maybe the greatest in NBA history. So the processing speed, the football experience, LeBron played football in high school. This guy is as mobile as they come. He's going to be able to scramble if need be, but he can make all the throws for you. He's a great leader, smart as they come out there on the field. And so, LeBron is going to command this offense to great things. And you got to have backup quarterbacks though. What if LeBron, at his older age now is starting to get injured? In a lot of cases in the NFL, your season's kind of over. That's why we need some good backup quarterbacks. And for the second backup backup. I was really struggling to find a kind of a good position for this guy to be other than a backup quarterback. But, I feel very confident if our leader went down on LeBron James with this guy taking over, and that is Luka Doncic, the lefty gunslinger. Might be a little bit of a statue in the pocket. Might not have the mobility of LeBron, but he does have the playmaking ability that you'll need. The improvising archetype of a quarterback is Luka Doncic. As I mentioned, a lefty. We've seen some great lefty quarterbacks. We've seen Michael Vick. Tua comes to mind as another great lefty. There's been plenty of them, right? But one of the things about Luka I love is his play extending ability at the next level. I think he's going to make a great improviser quarterback with, some really raw talent behind the center there. And so Luka is the backup. I'd feel confident with him taking over. And the third string will be Tyrese Halliburton. I think another guy with extremely high processing speed, great passer, great leader, just a guy, maybe more of a game manager type, but a guy you can trust out there with the ball in his hands. He's going to make good decisions with the football, low turnover ratio. I like the, Halliburton pick at the third string quarterback. Gives you a different look there from under center. And so those are the quarterbacks. That's the quarterback room. Obviously, LeBron going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, no question. You rarely see a quarterback above 6'8", but I think LeBron could be the right guy to, kind of quell that archetype debate, whether or not a quarterback over 6'8" could be successful. And so for the running back room, there's going to be 3 running backs on this team. We're going to have these different archetypes, as I mentioned. Every great NFL team needs a workhorse back, a guy that can run for power, for speed, for big plays, but it's just sturdy and reliable back there. Not someone that's going to shy away from contact. He's going to fight for extra yards. He's going to be an absolute dog, and someone you could trust with the blocking or the passing plays. And that is why I have Anthony Edwards. I just think Anthony Edwards would be a fantastic running back. He's got all the athletic traits required. He's quick, he's fast, he's got that home run speed. He can, the hurdles will be insane with Ant. Let's just be real about that. His explosiveness is incredible, and that's, the short distance bursts. Those are going to be the biggest thing for running backs a lot of times. The contact balance, he's a strong guy. I just think Ant's going to be a great back. And then, obviously for the workhorse back, that's solved, but now you're going to need a guy that, maybe is a little bit more of a receiving back that you bring in on third down, passing downs kind of thing. Maybe someone with a little bit more finesse who is also very gifted athletically, but might be more a little bit of a technician than Anthony Edwards. And that is why I have Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell would be a nice change of pace. They are kind of similar in size. I'm not saying Donovan Mitchell is not athletic, because he absolutely is, but I think Donovan Mitchell would make a very good receiving back type to come in on third down. Still big enough to get, that blocking responsibility from the shotgun and stuff like that. So I think Donovan Mitchell would be good there. And then you need a power back, someone that's just going to run through a wall. Okay. You need the size, you need the powerful, just head of steam ability. Give this guy the ball and just run straight into the defense and, get some yards. Brute strength, brute force, brute athleticism. That is why I have Russell Westbrook as our power back. He's going to be our goal line back, come in on these third and short situations, these fourth and short situations. He's going to be able to get you the tough yards required for a first down or a touchdown in a goal line scenario. Listen, Russ with a head of steam, he's a tough guy to tackle. And so, he's got the mentality it takes to be a goal line back, and certainly the physical traits you need as well. So those are the running backs. If you're looking for someone else to, be in this room that isn't named yet, don't worry. We do have some gadget guys offensively that will be getting some touches, whether it's, handoffs from the backfield. Think of a Deebo Samuel type, or, someone that could play receiver, return kicks and punts that also could be getting some carries or some catches out of the backfield. We will have those guys later on in this, on this team, in this roster that I will announce, but those are like the pure running backs. Those are it. For the fullback's kind of an odd man out as far as NFL goes today. You don't see a lot of teams carrying one. Kyle Juszczyk comes to mind as a guy that's, really been like kind of just the best fullback in the league for a while, that is exceptionally versatile. But, for the fullback, we're going to need someone that's extremely versatile, has the size to be able to block like a tight end would, but also has some athleticism to be able to take handoffs, maybe in a situation where you're expecting it to go to the power back, but you give it to the fullback instead. But when I think of fullbacks, man, I think of really good blockers in space with not exactly enough size to be a tight end, but not enough quickness to be a running back. And so somewhere in the middle, this guy's gonna be doing all the dirty work. He's fine with that. So I have Aaron Gordon as a very versatile athlete that kind of fits the bill in this regard. He's a little bit bigger than the running backs, but he'll be a little bit smaller than the tight ends, as you'll see later in the list. And so I think Aaron Gordon as kind of a gritty, hard-nosed guy, very versatile skill set. He'll be able to catch passes out of the backfield. He'll be able to line up in 3 tight end sets. He'll be able to take carries if need be, but mostly the blocking, he's gonna be very willing to do that. And I think he's gonna make a great fullback in this league. Now for the wide receivers, we're gonna have a slew of archetypes for this position. We're gonna have 4 or 5, maybe even 6 wide receivers on this list. Can't wait to get through them all. Let's just picture we're on the 20-yard line. We're inside the 20 in the red area, in the red zone. We need someone with extreme height and length to be able to high point the football and bring it down in contested traffic. Think of a lob threat in this scenario. with a lot of height and skills, good hands as well, all right? And this guy is an absolute athletic freak who's going to be a monster red zone target. Maybe not bulky enough to play tight end, maybe doesn't have the other skills necessary to be an every down receiver on the outside, but certainly in the red zone, he is going to be a nightmare on those wide receiver fades to the outside, back pylon. This is Victor Wembanyama, all right? Victor Wembanyama, I wanted to put him at the tight end, but then I realized, he's just going to get killed in the blocking. He's just not bulky enough to get those blocks off. And so I do think he is crafty enough and, quick enough and fluid enough as an athlete to maybe play some other areas of the field besides just a red zone target. But in the red zone, he's going to be a touchdown machine. If you're drafting a fantasy team, touchdowns are the biggest thing. Victor Wembanyama is going to make a great red zone target. Therefore, this guy's got to be on your fantasy team as a total red zone nightmare threat for the receiver position. Now, you need kind of a do-it-all receiver, someone with all of the skills on all the areas of the field, on all type of routes that can, run them well with good technique, but also has the physical traits to dominate the corners on the point of attack, down the field. Think of a Julio Jones or kind of a Calvin Johnson type. They're much bigger and faster and stronger than you, but they also have the technical ability to burn you in the route running department. For this position, I'm going to have Jason Tatum. He's going to be wide receiver 1 for this team on the field in all these sets. He's going to play the outside. He's got all the athletic traits required, right? He's also a very technical player, much more than you would think in the NBA. And so, down the field, he's going to be a big time deep threat, but also he has, the strength and speed to run quick cuts and make these, quick 15 and out. Like, he's just going to be such a strong handed receiver. He's in the league today. If you want to compare what Tatum will be like as a receiver, you might find someone like AJ Brown a very good comparison when you consider the strength of the hands to be able to bring in the football and the, dominant athleticism to not only beat you down the field, but then, run after catch and all these things. So Tatum is wide receiver 1 on this team for me. Another guy that's really big, but I just think would make an exceptional technician route runner. Think of a Keenan Allen, right? Someone like that might not have the best athleticism in the entire world, but he's just going to run routes to perfection. He's always going to find his way open and has the height and strength to be able to make all the catches. This is Brandon Ingram. I don't know why I just see a big physical technician in him at receiver, and Keenan Allen's the first person that came to mind. Just a master route runner with great ability and size to be able to, really play anywhere on the field, run any route. I just think he'd be that kind of guy. He's a receiver 2. Might not be the fastest, might not be the strongest, but he is certainly tall enough and skilled enough, as a receiver. So, as far as the slot goes, right? Like, you could have a couple different options here. When I think of slot receivers, you think of sometimes shorter, craftier receivers that find, holes in the zone and things like that. It doesn't always have to be a burner when you're talking about great receivers. Sometimes just the most skilled guy wins, and the size is irrelevant a lot of times, and the speed isn't always the biggest thing. Sometimes a more quicker, smaller slot receiver is required. And think of guys like Wes Welker in his prime or Julian Edelman. These guys were A+ tier slot receivers. And so you really want a technician out there who, is quicker than fast, but also is smart, good to be able to find the hole in those zones and make people miss after the catch. And so I have Devin Booker as a candidate for this. I think Devin Booker fits the bill perfectly, just a very skilled player with, again, not the most athleticism in the world as far as like blazing, downhill speed or, size or strength. He's just a real technician out there, the guy you want to run these quick hitting routes and find the holes in the zone, right? Just a very pure possession receiver. You always need one of those safety blankets on third down you can look to. Devin Booker's the guy. I also think a very good choice for this would be Steph Curry. I was debating whether or not to put Steph Curry at quarterback. He kind of fits the description there for me, but I thought those other guys would be more compatible with that position. So Steph Curry actually fits this exceptionally well when you think about how quick he is and how skilled he is. Maybe the most skilled player of all time at the things he's good at, right? And so his game is more skill and IQ than anything. And so I think Steph is going to be a perfect slot receiver for these possession catches. And then also, a guy like Kyrie Irving, we talk about skill, we talk about footwork and things like this. This is all important for receivers and slot receivers in particular. These guys are all a little bit smaller than the rest of the receivers, but Kyrie Irving, just seems like a perfect kind of Wes Welker, Julian Edelman type to me. When you just think about the raw skill set that he possesses, just feels like a slot possession receiver who's going to be able to make these quick cuts, find the middle of the zone, and run good routes. And that's why I have Kyrie Irving as the slot receiver. And so that's the receiver room. Just kidding, I lied. We need a deep threat gadget player that can come in on specific downs and kind of run a lot of, either trick plays. When you think about stuff like end arounds, when you think about stuff like RPOs, when you think about, a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson for the Giants, or someone like Percy Harvin back in his day, or Devin Hester type of player, Darren Sproles, like these guys that are just gadget guys that come in at certain points elements of the game. You run a specific play that incorporates them to find open space for them to run with the football in their hands and make people miss, make things happen. They also are usually very good punt returners, and so this player will also be our punt returner. But I do have Ja Morant in this specific role. He makes the most sense to me. This is one of the better athletes, pound for pound, I've ever seen in the NBA. He might be the fastest player in the NBA. He also might be the quickest player in the NBA. And just when you think about a guy that's too small to play running back, you know, he'll just get hurt too frequently. A guy that you don't really necessarily want to have a role for every down because, again, he's kind of small and you don't want him getting injured. But when he has the football in his hands, he's going to make magical things happen. When you put him in space, when you find ways to get him involved, that's Ja Morant. He's going to be running a lot of these gadget plays, right? A lot of these quick hitting screens, a lot of these creative plays that, you know, Coach Kerr is going to put into this system are going to be built for Ja Morant specifically. Again, he's not a guy that you want to put on the field every snap or every possession even because he's just a little bit lighter in the frame than some of these other guys. You can't really, you know, give him every touch that you want to because of his size. Injuries will occur. So when you have a player like this, you have to find a lot of creative ways to get him involved. And I think Ja Morant is the perfect gadget player on some of these things. Definitely our punt returner for sure. I think in the open field, this is probably going to be one of the tougher guys to tackle in this entire league. No question. If you thought I was done with the offense, you're sorely mistaken because we have the tight end room and the offensive line room to sift through. And now we're going to get into the tight ends who most people see, and I would probably agree with this, as some of the best athletes on a football field at any given time. They are, of any position, probably the most unique blend of size, quickness, speed, and power of all of the athletes on a football field. And so for the tight end room, a lot of people think tight end, oh, you got to be a great athlete with great size and speed, but that's not all of it. You have to be gritty and tough because at the end of the day, a lot of tight ends, most of their job is blocking. You have to find people that are willing to block and, you know, really good at blocking. And so the best tight ends are not only receiving threats, they're also great blockers. It's not just about athleticism. You need guys that aren't divas, that are going to go out there and be willing to block for probably about half of their snaps. And so for the tight ends, we have some freak athletes with a lot of size, speed, and athleticism, but also some grit and toughness. And I have our starting tight end being the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo. He makes the perfect tight end in the NFL. He is the perfect description for this archetype. I mean, the guy not only is probably the best athlete in the NBA currently, maybe one of the best I've ever seen, that the NBA's ever seen. When you think about his size, his, you know, power, his speed, he's going to make a great blocker, no question. But in the red zone, this guy is going to be a nightmare. That's just a freak athlete with the blocking of an O lineman, with the receiving ability of your best receiver. This is Giannis Antetokounmpo, no question for me. He is going to be the best tight end in football day one. Sorry, Travis Kelce, not sorry. You just can't compete with 7 feet tall and faster than your favorite receiver. You just can't compete with it. We also need a guy that is just a pure versatile player. Tight ends are super versatile. So not only do you have to fit the description of the athletic profile, you know, tough and gritty, but with a lot of athleticism and size, you also have to be a versatile type of player. And so I have Scotty Barnes, you know, as a tight end, another big time frame player who's exceptionally strong and fast for their size, but another player with really good hands that will be willing to block on any given play and do it exceptionally well. These are two dogs, some of the best power athletes in the league. We love to see it. The tight end room is stacked, folks. I don't know about you guys, but I'm probably going to put a lot of 12 personnel out on that football field. The O-line, you know, one of the more underrated and unsung heroes of the NFL. We just don't hear enough about these guys. It starts with the O-line. Everything starts with the O-line. If you can't block right, nothing's going to happen for you. And so we don't want LeBron James out there running for his life on every play. We don't want Ant to have to make people miss before he even gets to the line of scrimmage. We need time for a quarterback to throw. We need the holes to open up for our running backs. And so for the left tackle position, we're going to need someone with a lot of size, you know, a big mauler, right? But someone who's also extremely agile and very adept in space, right? Like for the offensive line, you need tackles that are extremely big, probably the biggest guys in the league, biggest guys in your team, but maybe some of the more agile people on the planet with their given size that have good hands. You know, blocking, a lot of it is about hands. And so these things all factor in for me. I think one of the more agile players at their size that I've ever seen is Joel Embiid. And I think he makes a great left tackle. You got to be extremely nimble as a left tackle, and you got to be great with your hands and bigger than everybody else, stronger than everybody else, more physical. And so Joel Embiid makes a ton of sense for me at that left tackle position. Another monster on the other side of the line for the right tackle, right? This is going to be another position where you need a lot of power, but you also are going to need finesse in the pass blocking game with good hands and good technical ability. And when I think of big guys with technical ability, I don't know about you guys, but I personally think about the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. Makes the perfect fit for right tackle, in my opinion. You need a real legit 6'10" to 7-footer out there with the technical ability that is unmatched, with the agility and reliability that you need at that right tackle position. For the left guard on the interior of your offensive line, you always want someone with a little bit of mean streak in them and some toughness down there, real physical down there on the interior of any line. And so for the left guard position, I have Domantas Sabonis. He fits the bill, no question. He's got the brute strength, the power that you need. He's also got the nimbleness, good hands and skill set, technical ability, probably moves in space just about as good as any left guard will be able to in the NFL. This guy is about as reliable as they come down there, and he's got the physicality and grit and toughness that you need on the interior of your line. For the right guard position, another just tough interior presence, I have Steven Adams. Not quite an NBA star. When thinking about offensive linemen, I don't know why I thought maybe the strongest player in the entire NBA with a real mean streak on him on the interior. I thought Steven Adams immediately. He just fits the bill perfectly for this list. He will make a great offensive lineman. And then for the center position, as an Eagles fan myself, I personally consider the ability to move in space maybe the most key thing. You need the power, and you need the physicality, and you need the size, and you need the technical ability and reliability as a center. You also need really good IQ. At the end of the day, the center is making a lot of these calls on protections. But like I said, as an Eagles fan, I've watched Jason Kelce, one of the best centers of all time, throughout a good portion of my Eagles fandom and my life. And so being able to get out in space and get to that next level and block up these linebackers, we need someone that's good in the open space that has the size. And so I went with Bam Adebayo. He feels like a perfect fit for me. Maybe a little bit smaller than the other linemen, but the center usually is. It's just about getting to that next level and blocking downhill on these long runs and screen plays. That's going to be perfect for Bam, who moves better in the open space than maybe any big man in the league on covering these perimeter guys. And so he just feels like the perfect fit there at center. And so that is the offense. Make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section if you think I missed anybody. If you like my offense, please let me know. We're going to move on to the defense. I think this offense is going to put up 30 points a game. They're just going to be dominant on all levels. The line is going to be just mauling the other team. I mean, we just have so much size on every single level of this team. We have more athleticism than any NFL team. Give these guys a month, right? Put, Coach Popovich, Coach Kerr, give these guys a month to install an offense to this NFL team. Get all the guys together, teach them how to play football for literally a month. I'm telling you, they go 16-0. Well, that's only one side of things, right? And so we have to get into the defensive side of the field because, defense wins championships, and that is very true of the NFL, always has been. There are exceptions here and there, but at the end of the day, you need a nasty defense who can dominate the interior. You need a great pass rush to force mistakes out of the offense. You need dominant edge rushers, dominant, run stoppers on the interior. You need a great front seven and some great secondary players as well to make plays in coverage. And we're going to start with the edge rushers because, again, I think this is one of the more important parts of football, period. And if you don't have any great edge rushers, you can't get pressure on the quarterback no matter what scheme it's going to be. We're just going to have a bunch of linemen on this scheme. It's not really a scheme at all. It's just like the roster. If I had my pick, I'd probably say, kind of a traditional 4-3. Those seem to do well historically. I don't know. But I also think some of the better defenses of all time are 3-4s. But these guys are just pure pass rushers off the edge. And, you need some freak athletes with a lot of twitchy athleticism who have great hands as well, who can overpower the left tackle and the right tackle and, just provide a lot of, great freak athleticism. And so I picked some of the more freakish athletes in the league that are also great defensive players. And, starting out with Anthony Davis, who I think is as bendy as they come off of that line. He's going to get downhill in a hurry. He's going to beat you off the line of scrimmage. He's going to be quicker than a lot of the tackles in the league, and he's going to be as physical as well at times when he's at his best. Anthony Davis makes perfect sense for me as an edge rusher. He's going to get 15 sacks in his first rookie year, no question. Another edge rusher with a lot of size and good mobility that is just a defensive monster is Rudy Gobert. Now, I question whether or not to put Rudy Gobert as a D tackle or, he has to play on the line as a big man. But at the end of the day, I just think he is a consistent pass rusher for this team with good technical ability. Maybe not the greatest athlete I've ever seen off of the edge or even on this team in general, but he is mobile for his size. He is athletic for his size. And at the end of the day, it's not always about athleticism off the edge. Some guys are real technicians out there who just know how to get to the quarterback. They might not have, the most juice off the line, but they just might be able to use their hands better than the tackle or whoever they're going against. And so I think Rudy Gobert, as a 4-time DPOY, he's going to figure it out. He's going to be a monster off the edge for us. He might even end up being more of a power rusher than anything, but he just, it's going to be crazy. And then another great athlete off the edge who, maybe could use a little bit more weight room, but at the end of the day, on a football team will be a great edge rusher on passing downs is Jaren Jackson Jr., another bendy athlete with a great height, weight, speed profile. He's got great length to be able to get those hands on the quarterback, good enough strength to bring him down when he needs to. His use of hands on the finesse type of moves on the pass rush are going to be elite. I love Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J as an edge rusher, maybe on kind of a third down specialist, but I think we could all say probably the best edge rusher in the league would most likely be Zion Williamson. I mean, when you think about just a freak power athlete with the size, height, weight, speed profile you'll just never see in the league, this guy is your next, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt. Like, he's just going to be an absolute monster on the edge out there. Could end up breaking the sack record. I don't know. I also think Zion would be a great run defender from the edge, considering his size and his, brute strength. He's going to push the tackles and disrupt the line. He could also play on the interior as well. He's a versatile, schematic lineman. Like, I just think he's going to be exceptional on the defensive side of things. Those are the edge rushers, some great players there. On the interior, this is where you need a lot more toughness. You need a lot more grit. And these guys are as tough as they come. You also need a lot of size and interior presence. And so I went with some big time interior presences, one of them being Jonas Valanciunas. This is a guy that could either play, a 3-4 defensive end or a nose tackle. Like, he just has that grit and strength. He's one of the strongest players in the league. He's going to be an immovable object on that line, no question about it. Another guy that I think would be a really great defensive end in a 3-4 would be Jared Allen. He could slide into a defensive tackle in a 4-3, no problem. Another guy with great hands and one of the stronger players you're going to find in the league with great athleticism, but the monster defensive tackle with the most toughness maybe on this entire defense, he's going to be one of our defensive captains who's just going to be a nightmare to block every given play, is Draymond Green. Can you imagine Draymond Green as a defensive tackle? This guy would be the biggest nightmare defensive tackle I've ever seen. He would be so annoying, talking trash to the linemen, getting in their head. This guy is just not someone you want to play in the NBA, and so when it comes to the NFL, he's going to be able to use that physicality even more. Man, this guy's going to be tough to block on the interior. I love Draymond as a defensive tackle for this team in the middle of the defense. So that's the defensive line. I think we got some great players there. This could be a tough team to block up, no question. We got some freak athletes. We got a lot of toughness. We got a lot of size on the interior. And, speaking of front seven, we have to get through these linebackers, because another position that's kind of fallen by the wayside as far as, how valuable people think they are, the off-ball linebackers. I remember back in the day when I was growing up watching football, every defense, every great defense needed a, fiery competitor, nasty streak, middle linebacker to lead the defense. It was like the quarterback of the defense. You just don't see a lot of these guys anymore. Bobby Wagner's still around. You got some other great, linebackers off ball like Roquan Smith. They're just not as valued in today's NFL. But I personally want to bring back the Ray Lewises of the world, the Patrick Willises of the world. And I think a fiery competitor, leadership guy is going to fire up this defense, give these big time locker room speeches is Jimmy Butler. He feels like a great, middle linebacker type of guy to me. Again, linebackers, off ball linebackers, they might not be as athletic as some of the other players, but they're big, they're strong, and they go sideline to sideline. They cover well. And most importantly, for an off ball middle linebacker, the Mike linebacker, they have to be smart. They have to be able to read the offense, and they have to cover well. And so Jimmy Butler makes a lot of sense to me as, that guy who's going to be able to lead this defense. He's going to be the one communicating all the plays with the other, the rest of the team, and covering in space really well with just a mean streak in him. Think of Ray Lewis or Patrick Willis, as I mentioned. The outside linebackers, these guys could be, similar skill set wise to the middle linebacker, but still a lot of times on these blitz plays, these blitzes that Coach Spoelstra is going to call, he's going to need some of these guys to be a little bit more athletic and, rush the pass right on a lot of these blitzes. And so these guys have to be a little bit quicker. They have to go sideline to sideline a little bit more. They have to rush the passer occasionally. They have to be a little bit more versatile, but certainly I think one of the better men for the job will be Kawhi Leonard. You could say Kawhi would have been a good edge rusher. I do think that's possible, but you could either switch him to an edge rusher or a off-ball linebacker. He seems like a great, outside linebacker off-ball to me personally. I just love the skill set there. He's big enough, he's tough enough, and he's as strong as they come for the position. He's going to make a great linebacker, no question. Just a great wrap-up tackler as well. I think Kawhi will be, as well as Jimmy Butler. And for the other outside linebacker, I'm going to have Jaylen Brown, who feels like a guy, another versatile type of athlete that'll be all over the field making tackles, on the sideline, on these outside zones, on these end arounds, on these, wide receiver screens. Jaylen Brown's going to be able to blow those up in a hurry. He's also going to be able to be a very effective blitz player, someone you could send to the quarterback on a passing situation. If they're passing, if the quarterback struggles to, call out protections and find the blitzer, this is a guy you send through the line, no question. Jaylen Brown makes a great outside linebacker for me personally. And then the cornerbacks, this is where, the league has really evolved to where cornerbacks are as important as they've ever been. Now being such a prominent passing league, it's now less about safeties, more about corners. You need some great corners out there. And one of the things that corners have to be really good at now, athletically, they have to be long. long, right? They have to be long like a wing defender would be, right? They also have to be exceptionally quick and versatile and be able to make really good quick cuts like a receiver would. They have to have fluid hips, no question. So I think of like wing defenders with a lot of length, or even guard defenders with a lot of length with super long arms and good quickness. And the perfect fit for me at corner, this is our CB1, is SGA. SGA feels like a corner to me. When you watch him play out there, he's got some, exceptional length on his arms. He's extremely quick, extremely fluid as a guy in space. He guards ball handlers super well. And so I think he's going to make a perfect CB1. He's got the length for it. Other than our team, he's got as good a size as you're going to find, out there on the outside. And he's, certainly fast enough to play corner in my opinion. So I think SGA makes a great corner. CB1, just kind of a freak corner that I think would be a great corner. This guy might not be big enough to play receiver, and he might not end up being the best tackler in the world because of his frame and lightness. I think Kevin Durant would be a lockdown corner in this league. He's our CB2 on the outside. KD, just the long arms, the fluid hips, the, might not be the fastest guy, but he can make up for it with his length and stuff like that, and just his ability to read the guy in front of him in a quick manner of things. I think Kevin Durant makes a great CB2, and then we need like a slot corner, a guy that could either play inside, outside, but would make a great corner. I think of wing defenders, and I think of Mikal Bridges immediately. Talk about a guy with length and quickness and fluid hips. I mean, this guy's just gonna be harassing the other team's receivers. He is gonna be a shutdown Darrelle Revis, Richard Sherman type of guy with good length and size and speed to play the position. And then also Herb Jones, I think, would make an exceptional corner. I always think of wing defenders with a lot of length or guard defenders with length. So those are my corners. You guys let me know down in the comment section if you don't agree with those. But for the safeties, free safety, we're talking about a guy with really good speed and athleticism to be able to play roaming around the entire, back end of the coverage, right? And so the free safety has to have a lot of range to him and, good length as well. But he's got to be able to make up ground in a hurry. And he also has to have good ball skills and good hands and good tackling ability. So kind of a versatile athlete there. I think Paul George makes a good free safety. He could be a good corner as well, but I just think the ranginess, this is a good free safety in my opinion, is Paul George. And then for a strong safety, it's kind of a hybrid of a linebacker and a free safety to me. Talk about a guy that's versatile. Your strong safety has to be able, in the right, system, obviously, but traditionally has to be able to guard multiple positions, right? This guy's got to be able to man up on running backs and tight ends and slot receivers at times, and a guy that you can send at a quarterback every once in a while, but has to be a great tackler and just quick hitter, right? So for me, this player perfectly describes Drew Holiday in the NBA. Drew Holiday can guard so many different positions. It's crazy. He is also an exceptionally strong and fundamentally like low center of gravity hitter. He would be a great tackler. He'd be a great strong safety for me. And so that is kind of the team. This is a Legion of Boom 2000 Ravens, 2012 Ravens type of defense for me. We could talk about the Seahawks, the 49ers, like some of these all-time great defenses. Like this is as good as it gets right here, folks. Our D-line is dominant. Our linebackers are tough. Our corners are locked down, and our safeties are smart and versatile. This Coach Spoelstra is going to find great ways to get these guys involved and, off and running. I think this defense is probably a 10 points per game type of defense. I think we win like 30-10 on average in the NFL, DeHave's Dynasty, but you guys can let me know down in the comment section. What do you think? But we're not actually done because we do have a couple more important positions to cover. Kick returner and punt returner. I had to throw Tyrese Maxey at the kick returner, just another speedy guy who gets just up the field in a hurry. This guy is going to be a great kick returner. Tyrese Maxey, some of the best top end speed we've seen in the league. And then John Morant will be our punt returner, as I mentioned. Kicker and punter, the only thing I could think of was like Steve Nash, because he played soccer. Obviously, this is a current NBA list, so can't pick Steve Nash, but I'll probably pick like Curry or Embiid. I've seen those two guys dribble a soccer ball really well, so I don't know. We'll see. But what do you think of the team? Like, is this team going 17-0 in the NFL? I don't know. I think personally, this is a great NFL team day one. DeHave's Dynasty winning the Super Bowl in their first season in the NFL expansion. And, for the city, I don't know. I'd probably pick Philly. That's my city, right? But DeHave Nation, that's our city. That's fine. The DeHave Nation, DeHave Dynasty, I love it. Please let me know down in the comment section if there's anybody I missed at a particular position. What do you think of this video? I kind of thought it was a fun kind of experimental video. If you want to see more videos like this, I could do baseball. I don't know. It's kind of fun for me. I don't know what you think. Maybe I could do NFL players as NBA players. That could be kind of cool. I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. I love doing this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, I'm a huge football fan and a huge NFL fan. Have been my whole life. Huge Eagles fan, just like I am a Sixers fan. But obviously, basketball is first and foremost to me. That's my favorite sport. I can't get enough of it. So this is why this is an NBA channel. It reflects my my basketball fandom, better than anything could. But please leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy it. Again, all feedback is appreciated. I thought this was a fun video to kind of, throw in before the start of the season. If you want to see more content, kind of similar to this, but just more NBA content in general, we do things like NBA news, rankings, predictions, NBA, everything, anything going on in the NBA, we're going to cover it. And, just kind of creative stuff like this every once in a while as well. We do in-depth analysis all the time on the NBA channel. This was just kind of a very different thing. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys do subscribe, because I would love to have you around as a part of the Dehave Dynasty fan base. All kidding aside, I would love to have you on the channel. We are trying to build something special of this channel in the NBA community. And so, NBA is just my passion, and I want to talk about it like every day. So, if you guys want to see more content like this, all things NBA every day on the channel, everyday uploads, are coming back very soon. It's just kind of been a weird time for the season, but the season's coming up. We're going to be doing everyday uploads. So please subscribe if you guys haven't already. Other than that, leave a like on the video, comment what you thought of it down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Follow my Twitch, follow my Twitter. Those are my most active social medias. Links are down in the description, and I will catch you guys in the next one. This has been making an NFL team out of NBA stars. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your day today, and hopefully you guys are as excited for the NBA season as I am. I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. This is your boy D-Haven. As always, peace.